So I wanted to take this part two to talk about a very specific event that happened, something that I didn't have the means, the time to explain in the first half. And that is, the time where, leading up to and after I escaped. And kind of everything that happened in between, and what, the police found as a kind of accidental discovery during that process. So I did talk about it just a little bit. I don't remember any of the names, sadly, it's too long ago, so I'll only give them nicknames. And so, nickname for the one that the Irish lady paired me, you know, she combined me and him to create this character, right? So I call him arrogant fuck ass bastard because that's exactly what he is. He's very selfish and very arrogant, and he was the one that was always walking around making really creepy sexual comments. And honestly, he might truly be what I call an animal soul. But in paganism, you can look at him and tell right away that, if he ever had a past life as an animal, as a wolf, he will never have a life as a wolf ever again. That will be his threefold, because he is so evil that he has basically, he's not going to ever be given permission by the universe to, to it's said that if you're that once, and then you do something terrible like what he's done, if even if you just have the intent, if your soul goes evil like that, so anyway, I believe that, he's living this life as a human to be punished, and I think that everything that he's done in that life since then, he's being punished, constantly, because he's constantly doing wrong. So fuck ass bastard had a plan, like I said, and I was meant to be set as bait, when I thought this isn't gonna work, I'm gonna get caught. And he literally tells me it will work for me. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he just kept saying with a snicker, it will work for me. Very arrogantly, very selfishly, and that basically saying it's not going to work for you, but it's going to work for me, And so I don't know exactly what happened, but eventually something happened, and the man came with the flashlight and it blinded me, and I thought he's about to catch me and put me in that cage. It's really more like a solitary prison cell. And the rumor is, once you go in there, you're never let out, and then one day you just disappear. I don't know what happens, but it can't be good when you disappear. And so I was like, I need to do something. So I lunged. I was blinded by the flashlight and I couldn't see anything. Then I lunged and I attacked him. And it did set him to the ground, but a little child can only do so much, right? And so eventually, I had to, make the decision that, I've got to run. I don't have time to really, sit here and decide whether or not it's going to work. So I ran, and fuck ass bastard ran, and we got to the fence, and we climbed the fence, and it was razor wire, not the kind of stuff that they see in the film. It was spiral razor wire, and he was wearing pants. And so when he jumped, he was saying that fuck ass bastard was arrogantly saying that he was going to land on his feet, like perfectly, and he got caught by his pants and dangled there upside down and had to wiggle his way embarrassingly out of his pants. And and then it's my turn to jump, and unfortunately I was shorts, and that's why it snags me in the leg. I do have in the first video, I have a little thing to show you what the scar is, but basically Um, I got so stuck that I was dangling there by my skin, and they were running, they were coming. The alarm was going off, and they were all running towards me. They were almost at the gate, and they were almost gonna, they were gonna do something to capture me. They were gonna maybe stab me with the sedative. I don't know, but I had to get free now. And so I just, as hard as I could, kept kicking and kicking with both feet against the fence, trying to free myself from the skin that was stuck. And eventually I separated from my skin and I fell. And I was free. And, Cat Girl was there, and she said, her exact words were, "You, she left flesh on the fence." Fuck ass bastard was making fun of me and, laughing and the entire time. His exact words, every will for himself, laughing, runs off to the left into the field, which has also got some old buildings with it and fences, I think, maybe. And I run up the hill towards, off to the right towards the forest. It was nearing dusk, and I didn't have much time before I knew, I was gonna have to bed down for the night. I got as far as I could. Meanwhile, really before that happened, I heard him scream, and I heard them, capture him. I don't know if they stuck him with something, like a needle or something. I don't know. But he screamed a lot. Maybe he was just retaliating. But they caught him almost immediately, within the first few minutes. He was going really, really slow, and he was crouching down thinking that they wouldn't see him, but they had an aerial view from above, and they could see him anyway, because he wasn't fully hidden. So I get into this spot, and it's where that part in the film where he's standing there and all the big leafy green stuff, I don't know what it's called, but that's in the forest. That's where I bed down. I don't know if that's the exact same spot, but something like that was where I bed down for the night. Come the next day, and he's escaped again. And he wants to claim this as his own territory, even though I was there first. And I was almost about ready to fight him, but then I realized that, somebody was already trying to come after us again. And, I bit my tongue because I didn't want to let on anything. I don't think he heard them. I really don't. And I said, all right, if you want to have this place, so be it. I got up a steep hill I had to kind of climb up. And then, I kind of ran a little ways, and then I heard commotion. I didn't hear flat out screaming like I heard before, but I heard commotion, and they caught him. I knew they caught him. I ran for hours until my body couldn't carry me any further, and then I found water. And then I found, a little crevice underneath some tree roots, some really intertwined tree roots. Only a child could probably fit down there. You look into it and it looks like it's just straight back, but really off to the left there's another little crevice off to the left that goes like this, and so if you're looking straight into it, it looks like no one's there, but if you're off to the left, they can't see you. And so unfortunately that injury got really infected, and it started kind of the aching way past other parts of my leg where it wasn't even injured, and I just knew that wasn't normal and instinctively knew that it wasn't good. Well, that's what starts to happen when right before the infection becomes systemic. That's what happens. Didn't know that then, but I was begging for somebody to come along and find me at that point. But when they finally did find me, at first I was a little hesitant. The dog sniffed the hole, and They looked straight back and thought that no one was there, and kind of walked just a few feet away. And I don't know if they were just kind of see what to do next or whatever. But then I, came out and said, I will come willingly back with you as long as you promise I can get hydrogen peroxide. And they laughed. They laughed because they thought it was such a silly thing to ask for. No, not food, water, blanket, whatever. They laughed that it was that humble and that desperate. But I followed them back, and like I was saying before, when we got there, I'll never forget how choice the words were. Watching the film actually made me remember a lot more, and understand a lot more, because as a child I didn't understand what he was saying, and that's why he was using such choice words. He said, "We have run into a complication while you were gone. Our teams found two bodies. One appears to be recent, fairly recent." He didn't even use the word dead. He just said two bodies. And, two bodies fairly recent. Nobody knows what the fuck that means at age 6, 7, And so I had no idea. Looking back, though, I know that meant that two dead people had been buried. And he was raising hell. The man was raising hell, saying, you don't have the right, to dig there. You don't have the right to walk there. You don't have the right to take your dogs there. You need a warrant and all this stuff. I mean, he was really pissed. Why be that pissed unless you got something to hide, right? And so, I think there were more bodies than just two. I do. Because at that point, they'd already found something, and he's still trying to defend an area, So I put two and two together, that solitary prison cell. They go in there, they don't come out for weeks, months, and then they just disappear. Is that where they disappeared to? Under the ground, dead. So, a lot of it is a lot worse than what you see in the film, because they didn't bring any of the legal aspect into it. I know it was in Ohio. I know that it got in media attention once or twice. I do not know how much was shared with the media, and that's all I know, because I was too young to really know anything else. I don't even know what happened to fuck ass bastard, to be honest. All that I know is that I regretted, I was only out there for several days, and then I had that infection, and I had found fresh, clean water, safe water to drink. I regretted, that hole in the fence that was made when it really did happen. A kid in a Spartan mask came and threw a dead dog through the window, and I was so saddened with the dog that my only chance to free myself without having to cut myself on the razor wire, that was my only chance. And then they fixed it. They fixed the fence before I could, try again. And everyone had been cowards and just ran away, and I was the only one standing there. And I should have just run out the hole in the fence that the kid made. And instead I was like frozen by this dead dog. If that's the kind of stuff that happened to me, then what happened to everyone else that I didn't, behind the scenes, anytime someone was dragged away kicking and screaming, what happened to them? So I hope that makes a little more sense now. I know it was really erratic when I was trying to explain everything, because I didn't have time in the first half, but I thought, out of everything that happened, I felt like I really needed to talk more about that. I do wonder if there's people in jail or not. I wonder if they ever were. Could they prove that they did that? I mean, how many more places are out there that are underground that haven't been uncovered? I really do wonder.